What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and I am back with the next review. The next review is of the DC Collectibles Crime Syndicate, DC Supervillains Crime Syndicate Superwoman. It's a lot to say. It's Superwoman. It's the new DC Collectible Superwoman. As you know, I only had 2 of the figures in this line, and one of them is utterly worthless. His fucking leg fell off. He had 2 left legs. Is all that clear joint bullshit. So I threw him in a box somewhere. I didn't even bother gluing him back together. I'm so annoyed at the fact that that's how things turned out that I'm strictly displaying my old Mattel Crime Syndicate Owlman. I'm hoping things don't go badly with her because she looks badass, and I was so happy when I picked her up, you know, because I'm like, damn, she actually looks good. She's beautiful. And then they didn't give her like a funky expression, or, you know, she's kind of got that Baroness thing going on, you know, where she kind of looks like and feels like a dominatrix type. So first off, the paint is well done. She's a well done figure, beautifully painted. Everything about her looks like Superwoman. She is painted and sculpted to appear exactly how she does in Forever Evil. Real quick, I'm gonna get the comparison out the way with the original Crime Syndicate figures from Mattel. As you can see, we got way more woman this time around. I mean, that's a lot of woman right there. In a good way. It's not like she's obese or something, you know what I'm saying? She's just a lot of woman. She's tall, she's thick, the musculature looks right. I was actually really pleasantly surprised at how they managed to put things together, because if you remember on the solicitations in previews and everything else, initially all these black parts over here in her legs above her boot, it was skin colored, skin toned. So I don't know, maybe it was a budgetary reason that they changed it, but you see how much more covered up she is than, you know, the other one. So, you know, props to them for that. I like that a lot. So good thing for them, I have DC Collectibles Wonder Woman, and you can kind of see some of the you know, similarities. Actually, I'll put them in the same pose so we can, you know, kind of just mimic the similarities and all that good stuff. But, you know, one is almost entirely in the Jim Lee style, and then the other one is kind of whoever it is that was. I'm not following the New 52, as you guys well know. So, not a bad, you know, likeness, not a bad comparison. They don't really look alike, but there are similarities, so you understand this is the alternate universe version of the other one. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the height is nice. The size is nice, although she's a little bit more muscular than her. So, you know, props to them for that. Her articulation, this is where these figures shine when it fucking works. Ball jointed head that has such a nice range of motion. You can even tilt her head to the side just a little bit, because the ball joints, it's a double barbell, which makes sense. Well, a longer barbell, not double, like SH Figuarts. So her head can actually emote properly. Her hair is made of the soft, pliable plastic, just like her cape. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that they should have done with the Winter Soldier figure, because then that would have allowed for more range of motion with the hair. The cape itself is just a separate soft piece of plastic that's resting on her shoulders and arms. Because there's width here, and because you're never ever going to put her arms all the way down as much as possible, and she has boobs that are fairly large, it's not going to ever slide all the way down. You know what I mean? And just come off. So they actually engineered something, and that's awesome, because that's what you do if you want to step up your figure game. You engineer your figures so that they work, so that things do what they're supposed to do. Her articulation, though, her neck, ball joint, very nice range of motion. ball socketed arms. You can tell it's a socket and not a ball hinge, or is it a ball hinge? It's a ball socket because you can't see the hinge up here. I can tell it's a socket. And you can't see it underneath either. She has a twist at the, or swivel at the bicep like the male figures do. Her arm can bend at the elbow almost 90 degrees. She's got a bend at the wrist as well as a swivel at the wrist, which is pretty nice. And, you know, as you've heard a million times with ODC That's Me's videos, they have the clear joints. The shitty, clear, cheap plastic joints that tend to break really easily. So be careful while posing her. Me, so far I don't give a shit anymore. If they break, they break. I'll throw them in the trash. It's done. Or I'll use their parts, the parts that aren't made of the clear plastic, for something else, you know, custom. I'll take the pegs out, replace them with screws, something. But at this point I'm fed up with this bullshit with the freaking clear joints. But anyway, she has a cool diaphragm joint that allows for a lot of motion, you know, just yeah. She can actually lean really nicely to the side. So if you have her in flying poses, like so, and you want her to lean up and lean to the side, like flying and putting her arm out and kind of stretching out, like so, you can do that, and it doesn't look bad. See what I'm saying? I like that. Uppercuts, she can kind of lean into the uppercut like, ugh. Let me pose her and then pose Wonder Woman so you can see what I'm talking about. It actually looks good. I was like, wow. Wonder Woman's like, oh, you see what I'm saying? Looks good. I could pose her and stand her up on her own, but we're not going to do that. This was just a demonstration. Just whoosh. It's done. So like I said, diaphragm joint is pretty nice, and it hides the, you know, it helps work with the sculpt, and it hides really well behind her boobs. There's nothing going on in the waist because the diaphragm joint does everything. It allows for the twists. She's got ball socketed hips that allow for her legs to go forward this much. Coupled with the diaphragm joint, you get that much. You know, not bad. Back, just that much, which is kind of crazy, but, you know, look at her butt. That's why. Outward to the side this much, which is pretty damn awesome because typically DC direct figures can only go forward and back. There's a swivel at the top of the bicep. Watch out for the oil, because there is oil. I don't know if you can see that here, but try and move it so you can see it now. There's oil right there around the top. She has the double jointed knees, which is pretty nice. She has a joint at the, you know, the ankle, and or bend at the ankle, and a point, as well as a pivot. Now, her pivot works really weird. I don't think it's right, because it's more of a twist, because when you're standing her up and you give her a wide-legged stance, it makes her legs kind of jut outwards. Her feet point outwards. Usually the way that the swivel works is that the ankle stays in the same position, well, the ankle twists and allows for the foot to stay flat. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I guess it counts. But, you know, overall, it's a nice figure. I'm not going to complain. I like what I see. I like the look of the figure. I like her stature. You know what I mean? She's got this beautiful, thick stature. I love my women thick, honestly. And when I say thick, I don't mean internet thick where they're all fat and they got rolls and shit. I mean thick like there's some form and some weight to it. You know what I mean? Look at that. Look at her little... her booty, you know what I mean? Like, the thickness works with those legs, you know, and it looks right. That's even how I draw women when I draw them. I draw them with just a little bit more bulk, actually a lot more bulk than what you normally see, but it's athletic bulk. Sometimes it could be just a little bit more meat, you know, just because I mean, you need variety. You can't have them all with the same look, you know what I mean? So that's my review of Superwoman. I'm so happy that she didn't fall apart like her boyfriend Owlman did. And she's still here. So maybe she was built a little bit better than he was, and we have that to look forward to. You know what I mean? I'm going to get up on this face sculpt because, man, she's got a hell of a face sculpt, and I'm very glad to gaze upon this face. I mean, my goodness, that is a beautiful face that they sculpted on this figure. Beautiful face. They did a great job with that. So yeah, if you see her, pick her up. Hope that you get one that's in good shape, that does not have the shitty, you know, QC issues that I had with her or with the others. And, you know, maybe once I hear that the joints have been fixed, you know, but when I see some reviews where they say, you know, they're no longer, they've made a version of these figures where they fix the QC, because it seems like there's two schools of collectors in this case. There's the ones who got figures that had shitty joints and all that stuff and said something about it. And then there's the ones who just got lucky and or they went through it but they returned it enough and they didn't say anything about the issues. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I'm telling you guys, you need to watch out for those issues because they exist. And it's not like with the old DC collectibles figures where I don't know what they were using that was different, but you never had those issues. Even though they had less joints, you did not have those issues. I mean, what? You ended up with 4 pegs more than what they normally use. 5 maybe if you count the peg in the wrist. And that's really it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, big deal. You guys could do that. You could burn up, melt up some figures, and there's your extra, you know, pieces. But, you know, all in all, like I said, it's a good figure. Nice design, beautiful paint, the whole 9. She's well worth it. So pick her up if you see her. I'm Strident. It's my review of Superwoman, and on to the next one.